Hey, it's Mike Cooch with Services That Scale. In this video, I'm going to answer a question that seems to be plaguing the agency industry right now, which is, should you sell high ticket services or low ticket services? Let's get into it. Okay, first of all, what the heck is high ticket anyway? I don't know about you, but I actually hate this term because I see it thrown around in the industry in price ranges everywhere from $2,500 all the way up to $50,000 and more. Which of those is high ticket? Because they're very, very different numbers. And you could sell a service at $2,500 and lose your shirt. And you could sell a service at $15,000 and make more money potentially than you would at $50,000, depending on the service that you're delivering. So what is high ticket? I'm not exactly sure. Here's how I'm going to define it for the purposes of this conversation. And that is, if you need to have a salesperson selling it, I'm going to go ahead and call that high ticket. Okay, just for the purposes of this conversation. Now, as soon as I say that, there's probably somebody that's going to watch this video that's going to argue with me. No, Mike, I sell, such and such for $10,000 with no salespeople. Good for you. That's awesome. There are exceptions, no doubt. But typically, if you're selling something at higher price points, you're going to need salespeople involved, which is a very, very important part of this discussion. Okay, so there are three big things to get really clear on when it comes to determining should you be selling lower ticket services or higher ticket services. So what are those three things? Number one, most importantly, is to understand that if you are selling at higher price points, you are going to slow down the sales cycle. There is no question, particularly with smaller businesses, that they are budget sensitive. And so the higher the price point, the longer the sales cycle, the more selling that you're going to have to do, the more convincing that you're going to have to do, and the more skepticism you're going to face from your prospects because they are constantly evaluating money. There are very, very few small businesses out there that just have a lot of extra money laying around. They do exist, but they're far and few in between. The majority of them are evaluating anything that they're spending on a very personal basis. If you're selling to a large company has budgets that are established. And there are employees in charge of those budgets that actually have incentive to make sure that they spend every single penny of that budget within a year so that they don't lose budget in the next year's budgeting cycle, because that's perceived to be lowering of your power in a big company if you have a smaller budget to manage. So it's got these weird incentives where employees actually just want to spend that money if it's budgeted to them. But with small businesses, they don't have budgets like that, right? Every single penny that they spend is coming out of their personal pocketbook. And so when they're evaluating your price points, they're thinking about, well, I could hire somebody full-time to do that. I could do it myself and finally pay for that Porsche I've been thinking about getting. I could use it to fund my kids' college expenses. So anything that you're selling higher ticket is going to slow down the sales cycle, and it's incredibly important that you understand that. Now, number two, it is true that if you are selling at higher price points and you are able to sell and close those deals, you are getting typically higher quality customers. Okay, this has been proven in all kinds of different industries and at different price points. But one of the studies or books that I like to refer to is actually first sales and marketing head at HubSpot, who actually found over the course of a ton of data selling to tons and tons of small businesses that if they charged upfront for the year of their services, and they have a SaaS platform, so they could just charge, $297, $497, $697 a month, like most SaaS does. But they actually found that if they charged the year in advance, they got a much higher quality customer that had a longer lifetime value. And the reason why they found was the level of commitment that that customer made when they wrote that bigger check. When they write that bigger check, they are more engaged and more committed to making sure that they see a return on that money. Whereas if they just spend the $497 a month and they feel like they could cancel or get out of that anytime, they don't have that same degree of commitment. That's certainly something that I've experienced. I imagine many of you have experienced. So if you can sell at higher price points, you can get higher quality customers. And then number 3, and this point is so critical, is that if you're going to sell at higher ticket prices because you are going to have a longer sales cycle and you're going to have to do more selling and typically require salespeople, that means that you have to make that investment to be in line with your price points. So if you are selling at lower price points, $297 a month, $497 a month, oftentimes you can do that with a much leaner sales operation. You may still decide to have a salesperson because you will close more deals by having a salesperson. It doesn't matter what the price point is. But if you can sell at $297, $397, $497 a month, those price points typically, the sales process is so much faster that it can oftentimes be done just in one quick phone call, maybe 2. And so you can get a lot of leverage from a single salesperson. What I mean by that is that you can have a single salesperson closing a lot of deals and still do very well in terms of the revenue generated per salesperson. Whereas with a higher price point, you are typically going to have to invest in much more sales infrastructure. You're going to have more salespeople. You may have dedicated appointment setters. You're going to have higher marketing expense, and you're probably going to have to carry those sales expenses for longer in between when you first get started and when you're actually starting to make enough money to close those deals, because again, the sales cycle is longer. You could be investing thousands and thousands of dollars each month in that sales infrastructure before you start to see your first deals close. You could also most likely be spending a lot more on paid ads to try to fill your funnel more quickly and try and accelerate that sales process. So not to mention at higher price points, you're probably having to invest more in your service delivery to make sure that the customers really feel like they're getting an ROI on that money invested. So things have to be in alignment. If you're going to have more price point, higher price point, you're going to have more sales infrastructure. That's why you see all the time the gurus that are running the ads saying, you know, we'll fill your calendar with 100 booked sales appointments. I honestly don't know why anybody considers that a good thing, but if you have 100 booked sales appointments, you're going to need a lot of salespeople doing calls to make sure that you can actually handle those appointments and actually run a business at the same time. So there's a big investment there to go along with those price points, and it's just something that you have to be very deliberate about, making sure that you're investing in the right infrastructure to go along with your price points. Okay, so those are 3 very important factors when it comes to considering this high ticket versus low ticket puzzle here. But the thing that I want to stress before I answer the question as to which you should be selling is that this is not the most important factor in the financial success of your business. It's not high ticket or low ticket. As I mentioned earlier, you could sell something high ticket, but if it's a custom project that requires a lot of staff and a lot of time from that staff, and it's expensive staff because it's talented, well, it doesn't matter that it's high ticket because it's going to be very low margin. Okay, the financial metrics that really matter are, do you have recurring revenue, and do you have the gross margins, high enough margins on that recurring revenue so that you're maximizing the lifetime value of the customer, right? Look at those software businesses that are selling to small businesses that they're only charging $297 a month, but they have 90% gross margins, and those customers stick for years and years and years. So the lifetime value of those customers in terms of the margin dollars to the business are much bigger than any sort of custom project that you could be charging $30,000 for that requires a lot of time and talent from somebody on your team. That's very expensive. So recurring revenue and margins are by far more important than this low ticket versus high ticket discussion. Okay, so what's the answer here? If you are an agency selling to small businesses, or you're anybody selling to small businesses for that matter, here's what I'm going to tell you. Look around at any significant company selling to small businesses and try to find one that is selling high ticket and that is a good sized business and successful. Okay, let me know. Comment in my video down below. I would love to hear, because I've been selling to small businesses for 15 plus years now, and I have studied every industry that I can find, and there are no businesses that I can find that are selling high ticket as their primary offer and that are making really good money and growing a good sized healthy business doing it. You'll see, of course, if you're a law firm, and you're selling to small businesses and those small businesses have a legal case, well, yeah, that law firm could be charging that small business $50,000, $75,000 or more. But how many really good sized law firms do you know that are selling to small businesses? Not that many. They tend to be very small firms where the lawyer is spending their time burning out, right? Trying to bill every waking minute that they can to try and cover the overhead of running an expensive organization. That is the professional services trap, and that's exactly what I hate and try to help businesses, try to help entrepreneurs and agencies escape by having better business models. Okay, so what is a better model? The better model is to have lower price points, higher margin, recurring revenue. Again, look at any successful company selling to small businesses, and that's what you're going to find. Lower price points, higher margins, recurring revenue. To do that, you typically have to have some service that is based on technology and assets of some sort that you've developed instead of time and talent. Okay, professional services businesses like that law firm that I mentioned are selling time and talent. The software companies that we all admire and we all know that they're gushing capital are selling software and maybe marketing campaigns and assets that they've developed to be used in that software. Okay, they're selling software and assets, technology and assets, or assets and automation instead of time and talent. Now, here's a really important thing though that I'm going to stress for any of you in this digital agency space selling to small businesses that are saying, yeah, but Mike, I need cash. Here's the deal. Sell both. That is the answer for most of you. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's how you do it that's critical. Okay? So sell both. Have an option where you're selling lower ticket, $297, $497 a month, but also have an option where your customers can prepay for the year and sell at a discount so that they get an incentive for prepaying for the year. Maybe you give them a 15% discount or a 20% discount. There are a good number of businesses that will take advantage of those savings. They do have the money to spend $10,000 up front and save a little bit of money. So do both. Sell at your normal monthly prices because that's going to maximize the number of customers that you get. That's going to have a shorter sales cycle. It's going to convert more customers more easily, but also put the offer out there to sell at a discount if they prepay for the year, and you can include some extra incentives in there, of course, to do that. So that's a real key, is to just let them prepay for the year so that you can get more cash up front. I know many of you need more cash up front to fund your business. I've certainly been there and experienced that, and having them prepay works. I will never forget the first time I asked a customer to prepay and offer them a discount. It was the biggest check I'd ever seen in my life. And it was from a customer that was always negotiating with me, always haggling with me. And I'm like, you guys have this cash just sitting around to prepay for the year? And they kind of laughed because, yeah, they did. But to me, particularly at the time, I had never seen that much money before in my life, and it just absolutely blew my mind. So a lot of your customers can do that. Now, here's the other real key to making anything that you're going to sell high ticket work, okay? Is that you have got to make sure that the service delivery stays in alignment with your core offering. Okay, what I see a lot of people do is they think that, they've studied somebody's course or training and seen some very convincing thing that says, well, you should add a high ticket coaching option on top of your services to maximize your profitability. And so they go and they, try and add on this high ticket coaching thing, but adding on a totally separate service like that means total different operational requirements, totally different service delivery, totally different investment in time and talent to make sure that you can deliver that properly. That's a big mess. Essentially, you're starting a second business when you haven't even made your first one successful yet. That's a huge disaster. What you want to do is always make sure that what you're selling is in alignment with what you're already delivering, so that you don't create a bunch of new operational challenges and operational expenses that are going to erode the margins of those high ticket services that you're selling. Okay, so as an example, I told you have them prepay for the year of services. They're getting the exact same service delivery that they were, but they're prepaying for it. It's just a financial arrangement. But you have not changed your service delivery, your operational requirements at all. So it's a very, very high leverage move. Another example of a really high leverage move is, let's say that every single time you start a new customer engagement, you have to do an audit of all of their current marketing systems and their website and their SEO and all that type of stuff to make sure that you know what you're dealing with. What I find is that most agencies do that kind of work without really documenting it and productizing it and demonstrating to the customer that it has real value. They just kind of do it as part of the onboarding process. Instead, take that work out, productize it as a marketing audit, include it in your services that you sell at the higher ticket version. When they prepay for the year, they get that included for free. But if they're just signing up on a monthly basis, charge them for that audit in advance. Okay, I've charged $2,500 for those audits. I've charged $5,000 for growth strategies. Charge for those things up front so that you're getting that nice boost of cash when actually it's the work that you're already doing for your customers anyway. You're just pulling it out and making sure that you're demonstrating the value for your customers so that they see that perceived value and understand that they need to pay for it. So that's a couple of examples. There are definitely more, but the key is, if you're going to have those higher ticket offers, they should be totally in alignment with what you're already doing so that you're not creating new operational expenses, new operational requirements in terms of distraction within your business, and you're not having to make entirely new investments in sales and marketing, because that's, again, just like starting a second business. Okay, so high ticket, low ticket, the answer long term is that if you're going to be successful selling to small businesses and grow a business of decent size, decent profitability, and build a real asset that you can sell, it's going to have to be lower ticket. Does that mean that you can't sell any higher ticket? No, it doesn't. Just make sure and do it right so that it's in alignment with what you're currently doing, so that it truly does add the financial boost that you're looking for, instead of just creating new headaches that you can't handle. All right, I hope that this was helpful for you. This is Mike Cooch with servicesthatscale.com. Down below here, you're gonna see a URL where you can get some additional resources from me, where I can share with you more strategies that I've used to build multiple multi-seven-figure service businesses selling to small businesses, and was able to exit one of those businesses for millions of dollars. You can get that down below here. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment down below. Please share it with someone that you think would get some value out of it. Hit that thumbs up button, and please subscribe to my channel. We'll see you on the next video.